Hi, my name's Charlotte, and today we'll do a gentle yoga and movement class exploring the somatic experiencing concept of grounding. Grounding is a resourcing tool we use a lot in SE, and it's really about our ability to feel into our bodies and feel into the earth, to the floor, to the ground that's always beneath us. If you think about it, we're on this planet that spins in space, and yet it's always there supporting us. It's always underneath us, and the gravity response within us is always there so that we have something bigger that can hold us. And this is incorruptible. This is something in us, something about our connection with the planet that no matter what our history is, no matter what our story is, this is always true. Even if we can't feel it, it is true. We are being drawn to this beautiful planet. I heard someone once say, "Oh, the earth, she loves us so much, she's hugging us close into her." And so today's practice is really an invitation to just explore this idea in different ways. So we do it in SE, and in this practice we'll use some yoga postures, bringing our awareness down to our feet, to our legs, to our hips, bringing movement to this area, and just playing around with how we might feel a deeper sense of connection. So some of the things we'll do will be very active and some will be less active. If you're having trouble in this practice tuning in to this sense of weightedness or stability or connection, no worries. I used to hate grounding. Even before I did somatic experiencing and yoga practices, I would be so bored and think these classes were dull. And I wish someone had at the time invited me into curiosity around it. So part of my intention today, I'd love for you to really enjoy the practice, but part of my intention is to really invite an attitude of curiosity around it, exploration, and just know whatever comes up is part of the practice. At the end, I'll invite some questions for reflection. And it can be really great to, notice, oh, I didn't really like it. It felt boring. I was going out. I was judging the class. Like, all of that is so welcome. And within that, there's some information sometimes. Like, oh, it doesn't feel good right now, here and now. Or maybe I want some support helping me come into my body and come into my connection. So I really trust your body and your timing. On that note, everything I offer today is invitational. So you can modify, you can stop the video. In fact, I really just encourage that. You're your own best expert of your body. And so let this practice be like your laboratory. What feels good? What doesn't feel good? How do you know something feels good? You can just get to see how it is. So I do hope that you get something from it and would love to hear any feedback. All right, let's go to the mat. And if you have a yoga block, that's great, and maybe something to sit on like a blanket. But if you don't have a yoga block, you could roll a towel or a pillow, something like that, or just simply be without any props and just use your own musculature. All right, see you on the mat. So we'll come to a comfortable seat. And I like to sit up on a blanket, see what's truly comfortable for you. We'll be here for a little bit. And then take a moment just to look around your space. So noticing especially anything that is pleasant or nice to look at. And then you can bring your awareness inside with your eyes opened or closed. And just notice one or two sensations in your body right now, maybe temperature or texture, anything that you're feeling. Or just in general, your overall inner weather report. How are you right now as we're starting the practice? We'll bring our awareness back out again, this time not only using our sight, but just notice if there are sounds you hear. I'm hearing the crickets. Maybe you can hear them too on my video. If there are textures you feel, just opening up all the senses of the body, any smells, any taste in the mouth. And then again, with eyes opened or closed, I'm just going to bring our awareness to wherever our body is contacting the floor, or if we have something behind us, the floor and whatever's behind you. Just bringing your awareness down, landing your awareness right where the body is making contact with support. Rooting into that support as much as feels available. And as you do that, just notice what unfolds in your body as you bring your awareness down to where your body's making contact to the earth, to the weightedness of your body towards the earth. If you're, on a floor up high, maybe a couple of levels above the earth, it's really sensing how the floor is connected through walls all the way down to its foundation into the earth. Just noticing any sensations, any little shifts, right? For many, just even bringing your awareness down can be a little settling. There can be a more fuller, easier breath, or a softening in your musculature, even if it's just about 0.01% more. But also notice, maybe it doesn't feel right and you're tensing up. And if that's true, let that be okay too. And as long as it feels okay to be with, just notice, interesting. I'm not really responding to this grounding right now. And that's okay. We don't have to force anything. We'll keep exploring through the class. So as long as you can stay with the exploration, you can continue or you can stop anytime. Maybe bring a little bit of movement to your body. Just rocking on the sitting bones a little bit, and notice if that movement helps you feel even more connected down. The last thing we'll do here is just a little imagination exercise. So again, you can have your eyes open or closed. If your seat is uncomfortable, you can shift your seat or even lay on your back. And bring to mind a tree. Imagine your body as this tree. I'm seeing an aspen tree, but notice what kind of tree are you? Picturing its bark, the color of its leaves. And bringing your awareness down the trunk of the tree to the roots. So seeing in your mind's eye where the tree, the trunk, branches out into roots and then breaks under the ground, traveling under the layers of dirt. Just noticing how deep your roots go. And as deep and as wide as you're sensing your particular tree right now, your roots growing, also sensing the flowering, right? The branches, the lifting up and out, the leaves. So sensing both the rooted down and that expression up and out. And if this is a resourcing image, you're welcome to bring it throughout the practice today. So we'll come onto our backs. And you can have your knees bent, feet flat on the floor. And again here, just take a couple of breaths to sense into how we've shifted our relationship to gravity. So sensing your bones dropping and widening towards the earth. And maybe even sensing roots growing from your back body down into the ground. We'll bend both knees into the chest and rock side to side a couple of times so that you're broadening out your back body, widening it out. And then keep your right knee into the chest, left foot comes back to the floor. We'll interlace the hands behind the back of your right leg. If they can't easily reach, you can use a strap. So we'll flex the right toes to the shin, and then straighten and bend your right leg several times. It doesn't matter how much towards straight the leg gets. I'm just beginning to wake up the knee joint, wake up the legs. So one of the ways we can explore grounding is just bringing awareness to the lower part of our body, our legs, our feet, our hips. And then once your right leg is straight or towards straight, just where it's comfortable and there's no strain, we're going to circle the ankle 8 times in one direction. And then 8 times in the other direction. When you're ready, rest the leg there. You can keep your left knee bent, or you can straighten your left leg down, out onto the floor. Reaching out through both heels. And you can even press your right thigh bone gently into your hands that are behind the leg so that your hips are leveling out. Easy breath, nice stretch in the back of your right leg. And then we'll bend the left knee again, cross your right ankle over the left knee. Coming into a figure 4 position. Again, flex those right toes back towards the shin. And we're going to swivel your right knee in toward the midline and then out and away from you. Doing that a couple of times. We're just waking up the hip socket. Maybe even feeling the top of your thigh bone rotating in its socket. And then the next time your right knee is down and away, you can bend the left knee into the chest. You're getting a little outer hip stretch. Maybe you want to rock side to side a couple of times. And just having a nice kind attitude towards your body. And then we'll rest both feet on the floor, and if it feels comfortable, you can straighten them out. And just take a couple of breaths, just to notice what you feel. Does one leg feel longer than the other? Even seeing, for me, sometimes it feels like my right leg is actually grounded. It's rooted deeper down, but lighter at the same time. Just get curious what you notice in your experience. And then we'll switch sides. You can bend both knees back. This time we'll bend the left knee into the chest, interlace your hands behind the left thigh. Flex your left toes back to the shin and then straighten and bend your left leg several times. Waking up the knee joint. And then we'll circle the left ankle 8 times in one direction. And 8 times in the other direction. And then, again, you can stay here or you can straighten your right leg down onto the mat, reaching through the right heel, reaching through the left heel, gently pressing your left thigh into your hands so that your left hip point lowers down to meet the right. Easy breath, no strain, gentle stretch in the back of the right leg. And as you're here, see if you can send the breath into the low belly, the movement of the breath. So as you inhale, the low belly balloons out and up. And as you exhale, it softens. And then we'll bend the right knee, cross your left ankle over the right knee. And again, swivel your left knee in towards the midline and then back out and away. Little massage for your left hip socket. Next time your left knee is down and away, keep it there. You can stay here if it feels like enough of a stretch in your outer left hip, or you can bend your right knee in, maybe rocking side to side. And then just taking a couple of breaths here, stretching your outer left groin, inner left thigh. You can always press your left knee away from you if you want more of a stretch. And then again, release both legs down to the ground. Take a couple of breaths, just noticing how your legs feel. Noticing any difference between the right and the left leg. Sensing if you can feel a little bit more that hum of aliveness in the legs. And then we'll roll to one side. Take a couple of breaths on one side, just making these transitions slow. So again, we're shifting our relationship to gravity. If you can, let the head come up last. We're going to make our way onto all fours, hands and knees. If you have a blanket, you can put the blanket under your knees if your knees are sensitive and you're on a hard floor. Okay, so we're going to create a wide base of support here. You can have your hands under your shoulders, really spread your fingers wide. Index fingers point forward, and knees are right under your hips. Take a moment here just to feel this like broad base of support. And we'll take some cat-cows. So as you inhale, you can lift your sitting bones up, chest, neck, head up. And as you exhale, round and curl, gently press the floor away with the hands, stretching that space in between your shoulder blades. Couple more times, moving with the breath. Inhale to arch. Exhale to round and curl. Inhale to arch. Exhale to round and curl. And then make any little circular movements with your back that feel good. Just taking a moment to notice, how does your body want to move? And if you're not sure, you can continue with the cat-cows or just experiment and explore. And so we'll come into a child's pose, sitting back on your heels, stretching your arms forward, forehead comes to the mat. If this bothers your knees a lot, you can come into puppy pose so that you're not sitting back on the heels. So this child's pose is a resting pose, and you're welcome to come into child's pose if anything I suggest doesn't feel right for you, or if you want to take a break, or if you just want to notice, how am I feeling? And in this particular child pose, we're going to tuck the toes under, so actually getting a little stretch in the soles of the feet. And you can press your hands down and away and just find that little bit, not too much, not too little, just right stretch in the soles of your feet. So we're waking up the soles of our feet. And then we'll come right back to all fours. And we'll slowly make our way into downward facing dog, but we'll do it a little bit different today. So yes, curl the toes under, draw your shoulder blades down the back and away from the ears. So you're hugging your shoulders away from the ears. Feel your belly button press up to the spine, neutral spine. And we're just gonna hover your knees an inch or two off the floor. And again, just really feel this broad base of connection. A little bit of a strength building movement. Keep your knees bent and send your sitting bones back over your heels. So knees stay bent and you're just lengthening your spine. Press your hands down and away. And we'll keep the knees bent, but we'll step the feet as wide as the mat. So knees are bent, press your hands down and away. Feel just nice length through the spine. Taking a couple more breaths here. If it's available to you, you can straighten the legs, but if not, no worries. We'll step the feet to hip distance apart and then walk your hands back. So a little forward fold. You can bring your hands to your hips, squeeze your elbows in towards each other, shoulders down the back, and then root into the feet with a nice long spine. Come all the way up to standing. So here we are again, different relationship to gravity. So we'll just take a moment to feel into that. You can look around your space again. You can take a moment now just to check in with your internal weather report again. Just notice what you're aware of. And then you can step your feet so they're hip distance apart. That's about 2 fist widths apart. We'll just rock side to side a couple of times. So as you rock side to side, sense that you're just pouring your weight into one leg and then pouring your weight into the other leg. Going as slow or as fast as feels good. We'll make the rocks slower and slower until you feel you're right in the center of both of your feet. And now we'll raise up onto the balls of the feet and then drop the heels down. We'll do that a couple more times. Just be careful not to have the knees too locked. And then bend the knees just a little bit and see if you can feel that you're not rolling your feet in or out. You're just equally on all 4 corners of your feet, meaning both sides of the ball of your foot, both sides of the heel. Maybe even imagining your tree again. Imagining the roots down and wide, as down as feels good, as wide as feels good. And then as if you could suck in nutrients from those roots up the trunks of your legs, through the pelvis, up through the spine, all the way out through the crown of your head. So this is the moment where we'll take the block. If you don't have a block, you can roll a pillow up or get creative, or you don't need to use a block. You can just use your own muscles. We're going to place the block in between the thighs, just above the knees, so you're not pressing the knees into the block. And then we're going to bring the hands on the hips, and we're gently going to squeeze into the block with our thighs as we root down through the feet. Weight is going to come back to the heels, and then we're going to bend the knees and just minimally hinge forward. So this is chair pose in yoga. So you can bend the knees, squeeze the block. You want your knees to stay over the second and third toe. We're just going to stay here for a couple of breaths if it is comfortable for you. So if it's uncomfortable, you can come out slightly. You can stay with your hands on your hips, or you can reach your arms up and over the head towards the sky. Again, weight is back on the heels. Drop your thigh bones down. Reach your tree branches up and out. If you don't have the block, you can pretend you're squeezing in, but just make sure your knees stay tracking over your second and third toe. Easy breath. Just notice if there's any unnecessary strain. And then press into the feet to come out. We'll reach the arms out to the side and around. And then just take a couple of breaths in a neutral position. Maybe looking around again. And this is a great moment to notice, how did that feel? Did you like it or not like it? Do you have a sense of solidity in your legs after that? What's unfolding in your experience? What's the dialogue, the inner monologue? And whatever it is, let that be okay. Let it be part of the practice. If it's like, I hate this, I'm going to turn it off. It's so stupid. Awesome. Just notice that and be like, oh, I learned something. In this moment right now, this doesn't feel right for me. I wonder what that's about. Can I be curious about it? All right, so we're going to now come into tree pose. So to begin with, I like to prepare it with the feet a little bit. So you can have your feet hip distance. Lift all 10 of your toes up. So the ball of your foot's on the floor, the heel's on the floor. You're lifting the toes up. Spread the toes wide. And then lengthen your toes as you lower them. So that's not easy. And then just relax the feet. So maybe there's a little more space in between each of your toes, or maybe they just went straight back. Either way, we're practicing feeling our feet and all the different parts of our feet a little bit more. And now we'll bring the weight over to the right foot. Keep the left ball of your foot on the floor, but just bend your left knee. And then we're going to scrub the left foot back. Scrub means it's like as if you could move it back, but you're not going to move it back. You're just going to use muscular effort to try to move it back, but you can't because you're caught on the floor until you feel your hamstring turn on. The back of the thigh turn on. Once you feel the back of the thigh turn on, root that heel into the floor as you keep the back of the thigh turning on. And then we're going to bend to the right knee, and you can have the right ball of the foot on the floor. The knee is probably out on the diagonal. Both hips are facing front. Or you can bring the foot to your shin, or you can bring the foot all the way up to your thigh. Tree pose. Here your hands can stay on your hips, or you can reach them up to the sky. So just like we did before, you can squeeze the foot into the thigh, thigh into the foot. And then from that, hugging into the midline, see if you can reach down into the foot and up through your hands at the same time. So we're inviting in that rooting, maybe even imagining your tree again, imagining the branches, the leaves. They have little aspen leaves in the wind. If you fall out, that's okay, just come right back in. And then we'll bring the palms back to the heart. Reach your left leg up to the sky, right leg up to the sky, and then release it down. Just take a couple of breaths. See what it's like now that you're balancing on both feet. Okay. So now we're going to bend the right knee, keep the right ball of the foot on the floor. Energetically scrub that foot back. So again, you're not moving it back, but it's like you're using the muscles as if you were going to draw that foot back, but you can't. See if you can feel the right hamstring turn on. Keep that and then root your right heel down into the ground. So with a super strong leg. And then we'll bring the left heel to the right ankle. Left knee is turned out to any degree. It all depends on your hip openness, but both of your hip points are facing forward. So you can stay there, or bring the foot to the shin, or bring the foot all the way up to the top of the thigh. Palms to the hips, or they can come into prayer at the heart. Squeezing the leg into the foot, the foot into the leg. And from that hugging into the midline, palm to palm, reach up through the crown of the head. And then you can reach your branches up and out. Couple of breaths here. You can always come to the wall if you want more support. Gaze is soft, and even check it out if you can connect in with the peripheral gaze. So you're softening the eyes. And then we'll bring the palms back to the heart, reach your left leg up and release it down. Again, a couple of breaths here, balancing on both legs. We'll do one more standing pose before we come back onto our backs for Shavasana. So you can step your feet wide so that the feet are about underneath your ankles if your arms are outstretched. And then we're going to turn the right toes all the way out to the right. Left toes turn slightly in. Warrior two. So you can bend your right knee so it's tracking over the second and third toe. And then straighten the leg back up. And then 2 more times, bend your knee. Straighten up. Last time, bend that knee. And we're going to take a couple of breaths here. So you can only bend the knee as much as feels good. Reach out through the fingertips. Drop down through the top of that right thigh. Gaze is gently over your right middle finger. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. Just notice how it is. Feeling the strength in the legs. Gazing right to the middle finger. And then slowly come out, turn both of your feet to face forward. Arms relax down. You can heel toe the feet in a little bit. Again, take a moment just to notice. How is that for you? How's the breath? From here, bend the knees just a little bit. See if you can connect in with that sense of weightedness. And we're going to reach the arms out on a diagonal. This is 5-pointed star. It's taking up space. Feeling your connection to the floor, to the mat. Reaching out and up. If you want, you can move around so you're really feeling all of your space. From a rooted place. This is me. This is my space. This is my strength. Woo-hoo-hoo. And then we'll switch sides. So, turning your left toes to the left, right toes turn slightly out. And then we're going to bend the knee so it's tracking right over the left, second, and third toe. Arms reach wide. Dropping the top now of the left thigh bone down. Easy breath. So 5 deep breaths here. Nice, soft, steady gaze over your left middle finger. Can you feel your connection towards the ground? And just like we had the block in between our legs, gently squeeze in. So it's like you're sucking up that nutrients through the feet, through the legs, feeding through the pelvis, all the way up through the spine and out through the arms. And then slowly come out, turn both feet back forward. Heel toe your feet in any amount. And again, just take a couple of breaths. Notice how that feels. Just notice what you become aware of. I can feel my heart rate speeded up with that, and it's just starting to slow down. Also, sense a little sweat. I'm outside in the sun. Just notice what you're aware of in your experience. I also feel a little kind of like heavier, and I don't feel quite tired, but there's sort of like this like heaviness feeling that actually feels good. Okay, we'll make our way onto our backs. You can draw both knees into your chest. Again, rock side to side if that feels good. And then we'll place the hands on the knees. If you can, breathe in and out through the nose. As you inhale, stretch your knees away from you. Really allow the belly to expand. And as you exhale, draw the knees in. Nice long exhale. Couple more times like that. Inhale, stretch your knees away. Exhale, draw the knees in. Find your own rhythm. And then after the last one, you can make any little movements that feel good. And then we're going to come into our final resting pose. And we'll do one more thing before you totally come into your rest. So get comfortable. We want our hands away from the torso, not touching anything else. Feet a little wider than the hips. And then just let everything flop. Getting really comfortable, noticing if you need a blanket or a pillow under your head. And then we're going to lift your right arm off the floor just an inch or two, and then give the right arm a shake, as if you're shaking the muscle off the bone. And then let your right arm flop. We'll lift your left arm up, give the left arm a shake, just sensing the muscle, the fat, the tissue flopping off the bone like overcooked chicken. And then let it flop. We'll lift your right leg up, give it a shake. And let the right leg flop. And then lift your left leg up, give it a shake. And let it flop. Just feel your whole body flop towards the earth. Yielding the weight of your body towards the earth, any amount. Nothing to do here. Just simply being. You're always welcome to shift into a meditation if that feels better, a seated meditation. You're welcome to stay in Shavasana as long as you'd like. You can just tune my words out. If you'd like to come up with me, you can begin to deepen your breath. And keeping the body heavy, the mind soft and expansive. Just bring a little bit of movement to your fingers and toes. When you're ready, you can roll to one side. And again, take your time, just having a couple of breaths on one side. With the head coming up last, you can make your way into a comfortable seat. And take your time to really find a seat that's comfortable. Finding a seat where you can sense your stable base a little bit more. Maybe even imagining your tree just one more time, its roots deep and wide. Its branches wide or tall, however you imagine it. Just take a moment to observe how you are after the practice today. And I really invite you to reflect, even just take a moment to write after practice. How was that? What was pleasant? What was unpleasant? What is a feeling of grounding for you if you're able to tap into it at all? Just getting curious. Thank you so much for practicing with me, and I really welcome your questions and feedback. Thank you.